ಇದು ಒಂದು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ, ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ. ಇದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು 8 ಕತೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ 8 ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟೆಡ್, ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಯು. The name of the story is The Conjurer. Right? In case you find me reading fast, please stop me. So I'll slow down. Right? Okay. I'll start. The story name is The Conjurer. This happened in 1985. My memory regarding that incident is crystal clear even to this moment. Sometimes the possibility of not being part of that incident makes me shudder in terror, thinking of what I would have become today. I thank my providence. Our school had classes from LKG to 7th standard. I was studying in the 4th A. There were 25 students in our class. Ravichandra was the dullest among them. I was not the brightest. I'm sure you have seen the visuals of a king or queen celebrating their joy with a group of dancers in the background. Class toppers represented that king and queen. Dullards like Ravichandra were not part of the dance at all. But people like me are the background dancers. We laugh when the kings laugh, we cry when the kings cry. Our existence has always been meant to be out of focus. In my mother tongue Kannada, we call them Atakkuntu Lekkakilla, loosely meaning you're in the game but you don't matter. Ravichandra was one of the cutest boys with beautiful green cat eyes, about an inch or two taller than me, though certainly not the same complexion. He was very fair. Now do not judge me a racist. These are the notions that we are seasoned and conditioned with during childhood. The to-do book of all the students consisted of the topics: how to become teacher's pet, how to follow the rules, how to be an obedient student, how to submit homework on time, how to keep quiet in class, how to not question the teacher, how to be in the good books of the class monitor, how to follow the good boys, meaning to be their chamchas, also called as underlings, how to study well, how to herd yourself with the winning group, so on and so forth. But the important thing was the notion: good marks equals good boy, bad marks equals bad boy. In fact, bad boy was even reduced to being completely waste and useless on the face of this planet. Ravichandra never took part in any sports or extracurricular activities. He was always absent during sports day, talents day, same as your school day, or any celebration. Nobody bothered. Ravichandra bore the brunt of our seasoned upbringing. He was ridiculed by teachers because he could never score better. He was ridiculed by the kings and queens of our class because the teacher ridiculed him. And finally, he was ridiculed by even us underlings because everybody ridiculed him. We followed the suit pretty much instinctively. Anything otherwise was believed to be blasphemy. He impartially scored a maximum of 2 marks in every subject. Nobody ever understood him. He was a quiet and reclusive child. Nobody even remembered his voice. He would, for most of the day, sit quietly in his place, the last bench, alone, as nobody wanted to sit next to him. On the day when the unit test marks would be announced, we would witness a full period of vitriol that he was subjected to by the teacher. He would stand silently looking down at the floor with tears flowing profusely from his beautiful eyes, without answering any of her questions, proving them rhetorical. We would rejoice. In fact, we would look forward to it. I could never understand my own horrible behavior even when it was happening. I would certainly make fun of him without fail, feeling the compulsion to do so. But I certainly was never really enjoying it. Something within me reminded me that I am just an out of focus background dancer myself. I too felt humiliated as my conscience would direct a part of that vitriol towards me too, as my scoring was not stellar. But his achievement of universally scoring less somehow overshadowed my performance, and I felt like he was taking all that heat for people like me. It was a mixed feeling. I was not happy about what I was doing, but I felt compelled to do so nonetheless. I feel so embarrassed to this day to even think of my sadistic behavior towards that poor boy. I wonder what was his inner strength that, in spite of repeatedly being subjected to the torture of the whole class mocking him, he would just repeat the stand, look down, cry posture every time without an iota of difference. Was it inevitability? Was it resilience that evolved within him? No idea. But he survived. Punishment for scoring low was a slap or a beating to both palms with a wooden scale. He had surpassed that phase due to the teacher being fed up with the ineffectiveness of that method. Now it was just insults hurled towards him by the irritated and frustrated teacher. Then finally, one fine day, she found a unique and creative way of insulting him. She decided to punish others by making them sit next to him. Fatefully, I became the reason for this spur of the moment decision. I had wasted the entire Sunday and hence did not submit my homework the next day. It scares me even to think what would have gone through that little mind of his about being subjected to such brutally insulting treatment at that tender age. All that for not scoring good marks. But the outcome of this was nothing less than a miracle. Let me take you through the events as they unfolded. Day 1, Monday. The teacher orders me to sit next to him. I hesitate and stand without moving, expecting a slap. I am green with shame. I'd rather take a beating or two. But no, she has made up her mind. I had the whole Sunday to do the homework and I still was incapable of doing it, and of course, neither has he submitted the homework. She has found a way to punish him and me together. Next stern warning and instruction to move compels me to pick up my bag and move to the last bench next to its lone occupant. I can feel creepy that every pair of eyes in the class is now fixed on me. They must be wondering how to celebrate this unique punishment bestowed upon me. Till now there was only one target and now there are two for them to rejoice. More the merrier. Oh God, this will stay with me for the rest of my life. I quietly drag myself to the new place. Without looking at him, I sit in the corner of the bench, leaving enough gap in between, and also placing my bag as a barrier. As I place my bag, I notice from the corner of my eye that Ravichandra, who was sitting in the middle of the bench, slowly slides to the other corner and places his bag as a barrier. It is the last period and we did not speak at all. Before the whole humiliation could sink in, it was time. Thank God. Day 2, Tuesday. I sat in my old place in spite of the objections from my old neighbor when the teacher intently stared at me and told me that the last bench would be my place until she told me otherwise. I grudgingly again dragged myself to the last bench with giggles echoing in my ear. We occupy the same two corners of the bench as the previous day, with the bag placed as barriers in between. My usual group of friends during the lunchtime behave strangely with me, making me feel like an outcast. Now I realize how Ravichandra felt. This was the taste of my own medicine. Ravichandra had his lunch alone always, obviously, and now it was for me to experience the same. I sat in my corner of the bench and opened my lunchbox. Tears rolled down my cheeks uncontrollably. It hurt me deeply. I couldn't finish my lunch. In fact, I couldn't even start. I can't distinctly say if my feeling is hunger, shame, guilt, or embarrassment. It feels like the sum of everything. It was then I noticed by the end of lunchtime that Ravichandra had seen me crying. Now the feeling was certainly a lot of shame. We did not speak. Day 3, Wednesday. I directly went and sat on the edge of my side of the bench. I am extremely angry with all my so-called friends for outcasting me. I have decided not to speak with them again. The teacher's behavior was indifferent towards me. I am angry with her too. I was able to answer a couple of questions she asked during the class. She seemed to be fine, but still did not tell me to go back to my place. In a way, I am feeling alright because with all the anger on others, I doubt if I want to go back to my old place again. The silence of Ravichandra is more tolerable than the chatter of others now. They all can go to hell. I was having my lunch alone on my corner of the bench when I inadvertently looked at Ravichandra, and at that exact moment, coincidentally, he too looked at me. Our eyes met and I smiled without realizing. He reciprocated with a smile, and only then did I realize that I smiled first. Oh, the damage is done. We did not speak. Day 4, Thursday. It's lunchtime. Same routine. I don't know what came upon me when I held my tiffin box towards Ravichandra. Maybe my anger for excluding me from the lunch sharing routine by others has become so bitter that I am ready to share my lunch with him. He looked at my tiffin box. It was bread jam. He looked at my face, and I smiled deliberately this time. He too smiled, and without much hesitation grabbed a piece of bread jam, and before I could pull back my lunchbox, he placed half an apple from his. I couldn't care less about others who saw this and mocked us. They considered both of us green touch now. We did not speak. Day 5, Friday. I am feeling elated to sit in the last bench with Ravichandra. Now the barrier does not matter, though we sit in the opposite corners. We are now comfortable in silently lending an eraser or a sharpener now and then as needed with just a gesture. I got an apple from him again during the lunch barter, so finally I broke the ice, asking him, "Apples even today? Do you bring it every day?" He looked at me and nodded, "Yes." I asked, "Why?" He was silent, didn't have an answer. I shared my chapati. It occurred to me that I do not know anything about him, but I hesitated to ask him the whole day. We did not speak further. Day 6, Saturday. I decided that I will ask him everything. Where does he live? Who all are there in his house? What does he do after school? And I did ask all that during lunch. He spoke. His voice was very feeble and soft. He spoke very slowly and clearly. He told his house is on the post office road near Suchitra Art Gallery. He stays with his parents and an elder brother who is studying in 8th standard in Aurobindo school. His father was a manager in some private company and his mother was working in the postal department. He had a pet Doberman named Tiger. He did not say what he does after school hours. He also did not ask anything about me. He just answered my questions and was silent. I tried talking to him about a few other things like my favorite radio program, favorite songs, cricket, etc. All he gave in response was a very cute smile. Day 7, Sunday. While playing cricket today with my friends, I thought of inviting Ravichandra to play with us. Maybe his parents can drop him off in the morning and pick him up in the evening. He will have a great time with all of us. Day 8, Monday. As usual, the whole class ignored us and we ignored the whole class. I want to call him my best friend. As soon as we sat in the class, even before the teacher arrived, I hurriedly told him that my house is near the Dhobi Ghat and I am the only son. Both my parents go to work. I also told him that I play with many friends near home after the school hours. I was about to invite him to play cricket with us. In the meantime, the teacher arrived and she announced a surprise test. I could hear my heart pounding, mostly for Ravichandra. The teacher gives us the questions and I could answer a few. Ravichandra, as I was observing him, was calm, quiet and just answered only a few. Later, when I asked him how he did in the surprise test, he said, "Okay, I am worried about tomorrow when the teacher announces results." Day 9, Tuesday. I see that he is calm as usual while I am perspiring profusely. Maybe that is because he had enough experience of this. The teacher entered with the answer papers and she had this practiced seriousness on her face. As usual, she kept Ravichandra's answer sheet aside. That was for dessert. As she started calling names and announcing marks, I became anxious. My turn came. I scored 5 out of 10. The teacher is not happy. She says, instead of Ravichandra becoming better sitting next to me, I have become worse sitting next to him. She says I can go back to my old place as this has been a bad influence on me. I do not want to go back. I tell her I am comfortable here and I like to continue sitting in the same place, but I promise that I will do better in the next test. Without giving it much thought, she agrees. I am relieved. Now comes the dessert part. She calls Ravichandra's name and he stands up, already tears in the edge of his eyes. He scored 0 out of 10. A 0. The teacher started the usual insults like, how can anybody score a 0? At least in the previous test you scored 2. Now it has become worse. She continues her vitriol for another 20 minutes and Ravichandra's tears are flowing incessantly. I feel miserable. The teacher orders him to bring his parents the next day or he will not be admitted into the class. He sits quietly and I do not try to console him. Not because I don't want to, but because I am not sure who is right and who is wrong. Day 10, Wednesday. I am worried about Ravichandra's predicament. Bringing parents to school is a horrible thing to happen to any child. Ravichandra was absent during the attendance and I felt relieved. He must have fallen sick, thank God. I hope this meeting is averted somehow. But before the end of the first period, he arrived with his parents. The teacher met him in the next room. We all are able to hear them talking. The teacher is showing his answer sheet to the parents and is complaining about him in a very bitter manner. She said that he is hopeless and a waste. He is unable to grasp even elementary concepts and that he is fortunate to have been promoted till here. I am called in as a witness to prove her point. She did not forget to mention his influence on me. All her questions directed at me seemed rhetorical and I never tried to answer any of them. I stood there as a silent spectator. The highlight of the discussion was an advice to the parents from the teacher that they better take TC and get him admitted to some other school. The posture of both the parents was exuding embarrassment and apology. The mother looked at the answer sheet in detail. Her breathing reflected her fuming anger and her hands trembled as she passed the answer sheet to the father. When the father was looking at the answer sheet as if just for a formality, it happened. A tight slap on Ravichandra's cheek by his mother. The slap was so loud that it was heard by the whole class on the other side of the wall. I was stunned. It seems brutal and barbaric. The boy, who was already silently crying, shocked by the sudden blow, held his breath. Then came the second and third and one more, followed by some more. He covered his cheeks with his palm and took the beating. Father too joined the bandwagon of the punishers and did his share of damage. Both of them, while shouting in anger, indiscriminately thrashed him without minding the surroundings. They pulled his hair, hit him on the back, head and face, tugged his collar, pushed and pulled him. I think they only realized the damage they were individually causing and continued to beat him till they thought it was okay. But the boy was taking the beating from both simultaneously. I am terrified. Teachers from other classes peeked in, perplexed. It was after a while that the teacher realized that it was too much. She intervened and pulled Ravichandra away from the onslaught. It's scary even to think how long it would have gone otherwise. His crying was loud. His breathing was intermittent. His nose seems to bleed a little. His fair cheeks bore the red imprints of the parents' hands. His hair is messy. His shirt's collar and 2 buttons are torn. His face appears swollen. His whole body is shivering. So is mine. The teacher, who in her spirit of proving her authority had overzealously advocated his expulsion, was now feeling really bad for that child, looking at the ordeal he went through. She too had slapped him before, but just like a suggestion, and never this hard, and certainly not more than one. It was meant more of an insult rather than causing pain. She never expected the parents would behave in such a barbaric way. Her narration seemed a bit too effective on the parents. I think by the time she pulled him away, she had tears in her eyes too and felt sorry for him. Or maybe I imagined her tears. I don't know. Anyway, she finally told the parents that she will give him one last chance. If he is able to pass that year's final exam even with minimum marks, then he could continue in the same school. If not, she will promote him, but with a TC. So his 1 year will not go wasted. The punishers felt embarrassed that they had to go through this humiliation because of their incompetent son. They apologized a tad too much and promised that they will make him score better in the final exam. I don't know how. Maybe they plan to beat it out of him again. After the parents left, the teacher told me to take him to the classroom and give him his water bottle. He came and sat in his corner quietly, crying. I felt very, very miserable. I really thought his fate was bad, because what else is there in school life other than getting good marks? What will he do if he cannot get good marks? Where will he go? What job will he get? How will he earn money? How will he even live? Who will respect him? The whole class was silent. The sounds of thrashing and his loud cries reverberated across the classroom, putting everybody in an uncomfortable state of mind. Nobody seemed to like what happened. Maybe mostly because of the way it happened. I don't know. They too had seen him getting a slap now and then from the teacher and had giggled. But today's incident left a lasting melancholy on the whole class. For the first time, the whole class seems to have some sympathy towards him. I don't think anybody paid any attention to any session till lunch break that day. He had not brought his lunch box. Maybe the parents took it back. I don't know. I threw away the barriers between us, sat next to him, and shared my lunch. Bread jam, his favorite, he was unable to eat. In fact, his irregular breathing still continued. Surprisingly, some of my so-called friends joined me in sharing their lunchbox with him, though he could never swallow a bit. They consoled him in their own way. He just sat there silently with a swollen face and eyes. Towards the end of lunch break, the teacher called us both to the staff room. She made him sit next to her. She consoled him. She also said sorry for what happened, as she did not expect things would go down to this extent. He was completely silent with head bent down, still crying. She caressed his head and asked him about his lunch. He was unable to answer. I told her that he had not brought his lunch box, and we all shared ours with him, but he is unable to eat. Before I could finish my sentence, I surely saw her eyes swell with tears. Another teacher who was in the staff room had to console her. She then sent me back to the classroom alone. Ravichandra stayed with her till the end of the day. I neither saw him nor the teacher after the last period. Day 11, Thursday. Ravichandra is absent. The teacher spoke to the entire class and said that what happened yesterday was unfortunate. She reiterated the importance of studying well and getting good marks. She tried to make us realize how much our parents struggle to make ends meet and sacrifice so much to provide us such good education and good quality of life, especially in an English medium school, where the fee was considerable. They tend to address all our needs in spite of having to forego their own many times. And all we had to do was study well and get good marks. That too for our own good. How difficult could that be? What other more important things do we have in our life? But I was feeling depressed the whole day. Day 12, Friday. Ravichandra is absent. I asked the teacher about it. She said she doesn't know and we'll try to find out. The whole day went in anxiety about what happened to him. Did his parents beat him again after going home that day? Did he die? Oh God, please let him be alive. Day 13, Saturday. Ravichandra is absent. I again asked the teacher about it. She had visited his home the previous evening after school. He was down with high fever. He will be coming back to school from Monday onwards. I am relieved. Thank God he is alive. Day 14, Sunday. I hope Ravichandra is feeling better and I will see him in school tomorrow. Day 15, Monday. There he is, same place in his bench. I am so happy to see him. He seems to have recovered pretty well. He is all smiles again. Seems like he missed me too. I went and hugged him. We removed the school bag barriers between us. We both sat together in the middle of the bench and kept our bags aside. The teacher too was all smiles to see him. Everything changed. Nobody ridiculed him anymore. The teacher stopped scolding him. Though he did not become one among the class nor his scoring improved, he certainly was treated as a friend by everybody. He still maintained his silent smile and the beautiful wide cat eyes exuding innocence. Some of my so-called friends joined us for lunch and seemed happy to share it with him. Nobody uttered a single word about what had happened. He seems to be very shy to see so many friends around him suddenly and not knowing how to react. I hope this effect will not wear off and will last forever. Day 16, Tuesday. I thought of inviting him to my home, but the thought of his parents dropping him and picking him back seemed impossible. He is now talking a bit more than before. He answers all my questions. His brother is a bookworm and a rank student. Both parents were always partial towards his elder brother as he is a good boy. He has proven himself worthy of all the toys that were given to him on condition that he has to score well. He has been consistently a class topper. Ravichandra does not have any friends near home. He has only one best friend and companion, that is his Doberman, Tiger. He spends all the time at home with Tiger. He feels indebted to his parents because they got him Tiger for his 6th year birthday. They have become inseparable ever since. Last year, when his parents threatened to take Tiger away if he did not score well, he had escaped from the house in the middle of night with Tiger. The next day, after a frantic search from the police, he was found near the monotype bus stop. Nobody interfered with them after that. My parents never allowed me to keep a pet. It is considered a nuisance in our house. Day 17, Wednesday. A regular day with Ravichandra and the class. Wow, I never imagined such a day would come. Day 18, Thursday. Another normal day. I like this new normal. Day 19, Friday. After lunch, while everyone was playing outside as there was still time, me and Ravichandra sat in class chatting. He was not interested in going out and playing, and I was more interested in spending time with him. During our talk, he hesitantly took something out of his school bag. It looked like a notebook, a used rough note. He had removed all the pages in between and had retained only the 2 hard covers. He had applied a thick layer of wax to the inner side of the second cover. He had then taken a butter paper and kept it in between the covers, so the butter paper sat on top of the wax coated side. He had stapled the top edge of the butter paper to the hard cover. That was his creation, the magic slate. He opened the magic slate like a book and drew a beautiful pattern on the butter paper from the blunt side of a pencil. The pressure stuck the butter paper to the underlying wax and etched a beautiful pattern he drew. It was amazing. I was just looking in awe. He then held the bottom of the butter paper and slowly lifted it up to magically erase the drawing he had just made. I kept staring with my eyes wide open. He then proceeded to put the butter paper back to its place and drew another beautiful pattern and erased it again. He drew one more and erased, one more and erased. I looked at him with an unbelievable expression, and he had this big proud smile on his face. He gave it to me as a gift. He showed me how to use it. I too tried drawing some patterns, and he showed me how I can erase it. I then tried it a few times and it really felt magical. I could draw and erase as many times as I wanted. I had never even imagined anything like this until then. I had no words to thank him, and he understood that, again with an innocent smile. The lunch break was over and I kept it silently in my bag. The wonder occupied me so much that I had no presence of mind and ignored the classes for the rest of the day. During the last period, when our teacher walked in, I decided it was time to show her who Ravichandra really is. I am so proud of him, of being his friend, that I want the whole class to know about this version of him. Ravichandra had no idea of what I was going to do. I quietly took it out of my bag, stood up, and walked towards the board to the teacher. She was about to start the lesson and looked surprised at my approach. I put forth the magic slate on her desk. She looked at me puzzled. Without uttering a single word, I slowly demonstrated its working step by step. Her eyes widened in surprise, acknowledging the creativity. Her smile gave away her appreciation. She looked at me, and before she could utter a word, I said, Ravichandra created this. He gave this to me as a gift. Not a word more needed to be said. The teacher's joy knew no bounds. He was called in front of the class. His magic slate was demonstrated to the whole class. Everybody, with an expression of surprise, cheered and clapped. He was then sent to the B section for a demonstration. I proudly accompanied him as his assistant, as he was too shy to demonstrate. She held the slate like it was a rare treasure, not because it was perfect, but because it was proof of something she never saw coming. The teacher gifted him her hero pen. That black hero pen, which once marked red circles of shame on his answer sheets, was now a token of pride from her hand to his. She said she was proud of him, then added, You can do one more and give it to your friend. Why don't you give this to the school? This souvenir will remain with us forever. You write your name, class, and date on that. He looked at me, and I was more than happy and proud that his creation would be part of the school archive. I rejoiced and gladly agreed. The next day's morning assembly would witness him demonstrating his creation and giving it to the school. She also told him to bring his parents. Day 20, Saturday. The demonstration went beautifully. The whole school applauded, a sound that must still echo somewhere in his memory. His parents didn't come, but I stood beside him, beaming with pride. Well, that is it. After that happened, within 3 months, we had the final exams. We all became busy, and before we could realize, the exams were over and we all bid the casual, customary farewell to each other. Summer vacation started and we were lost in our own world. The first day of the next academic year saw me searching for Ravichandra. He had not come. He never came. When I asked the teacher if he was removed from school, she just said that his parents decided to admit him to a different school. She did not tell me the reason. I was totally disheartened. The moment I witnessed his magic slate, it wiped out all the conditioned notions that were etched in my mind by the so-called society and the elders about school, education, studies, marks, rank, intelligence, stupidity, achievement, talent, skill, and many more aspects of life. That one moment added a new aspect of abstraction and shifted my entire perspective about achievement and life. Ravichandra is a genius. His creativity in building the magic slate and his ability to design patterns was something I never imagined he was capable of doing. He was the king in his own song and dance. I was still the one who was dancing in the background of others' songs, being completely out of focus. I had to find my own song. I had to find a new paradigm of understanding this world. That moment ignited this fire in me. I thank my providence again for subjecting me to the punishment of sitting next to him. I never met Ravichandra again in my life. I felt very bad that I did not meet him at least one more time to say a proper goodbye. There was no send-off for him, and nobody seemed to be bothered much about his absence either. I hope and pray that he has a wonderful, prosperous life. I don't know if the school still has his magic slate in their archives. Every school needs one. Every parent needs one. In fact, every student needs one. That day, for everybody else, his magic slate was just a momentary wonder. But his magic on me was permanent. That's all. Thanks. And this story is dedicated to every child who's still sitting alone on the last bench.